There are three sentence shapes in English that are always correct and stylistically improve almost every sentence out there. And here's how it works. The first sentence shape is called the A sentences. A simple sentence of assertion. So A stands for simple assertion sentence. A simple assertion sentence has it's a one-part idea, and it has a subject, and it has a verb. Starts with a capital and ends with a period. So an example of a simple assertion sentence is the sentence, birds fly. You can see birds is the subject, that's the thing, and fly is the verb, that's the action. Starts with capital, ends with a period. Simple. We can have longer simple sentences. I could write the same simple assertion: birds, bees, bugs, and B-1 bombers fly. Still a simple assertion. The subject is all the things. The birds and the bees and the bugs and the B-1 bombers. Those are the subject words. And what do? They fly. So it doesn't just have to be one word in one word. It can be a bunch of words can be in a subject before. And I could even do it the other way. I could say, birds fly and swoop and screech with vim across the magnificent dunes. The subject would be birds. And the verb, the action is, what do? They fly and swoop and screech with vim and a whole bunch of other stuff. So that example, too, is a simple assertion sentence. There's one subject and one verb, although sometimes those subjects and verbs can have more than one word in them. A simple assertion sentence. 1/3 of the way through English grammar. Dum da dum da dum dum dum. Hooray! All right. Now we're going to go to the next sentence shape. And this sentence shape is the C sentence shape. And C stands for the word coordinate. A coordinate sentence. Yeah, these are technical terms that are useful because we're being precise about pieces of language. A coordinate sentence is not a one-part idea. A coordinate sentence has a two-part idea. And each of these parts is equal to the other part. You know, I neglected to say in the last bit that the best definition we have of a sentence is that a sentence is a whole idea. And that's a really vague definition, but it's a really useful one because it focuses us on, we're thinking of units of writing, we're thinking in units of idea. So what could be a two-part idea, but is still whole and needs those parts? So there's a subject and a verb on one side of this sentence. There's a subject and a verb on the other part of the sentence. And I can always circle subjects and underline verbs. And I tie them together. I can use two different ways of punctuation. I can tie them together with a comma and a conjunction, like comma and, comma but, or comma so. Or if I prefer, I could throw a semicolon in there just to show off. You can live a perfectly fine life and never use a semicolon, so don't worry about it. But, you know, I like to show off in all my emails. I put a semicolon every once in a while in a coordinate sentence, just because I'm an English professor and I want them to know that I know how to use a semicolon. So here are some examples. Here's a good one. Birds fly and bees buzz. So notice I have a subject on one side, birds fly, and bees buzz. And that conjunction and has to have a comma to be a coordinate sentence. I need them both. Now, birds fly and bees buzz. Some of you guys are always saying, well, they could be two separate sentences. Birds fly, period. Bees buzz, period. Two simple assertions, and you would be absolutely right. But we put them together because, it's like, it is a two-part. There's buzzing and flying critters and how they move. It is a connected idea. It's two parts that become richer for their combination. I could write a sentence, birds fly into the breeze, bees buzz about the blossoms. I could put a comma and, birds fly into the breeze and bees buzz, comma and. I could be fancy and poetic and use a semicolon. Birds fly into the breeze, semicolon, bees buzz into the, about the blossoms. So in all those cases, lots of words or little words, it's still that subject verb on both sides, and they're tied together with that semicolon or that comma and a and. A coordinate sentence is like my lovely coordinated outfit. I've coordinated this summer blazer with these dark khaki pants. Why? Well, I like the look. I like how this dresses up my workaday thing. And you'll notice I could wear the blazer, the pants without the blazer. I just was. I'd have to pull in my stomach a little bit. Or I could wear the blazer without these pants. Hopefully I would put on another pair of pants. But I put them together today because I like the way they go. And that's how coordinate sentences work. We like the way they go, those two parts. And so we show that with the comma and the subject-verb pairs. Okay, 2/3 of the way through English grammar. Dun, 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 dun. Yay! So last but not least, we have one last sentence shape. And the last sentence shape we're going to do is called, oops, I'm knocking my board off. Hold on. There I go. The last sentence shape is B, which is for subordinate sentence. One of my students called it a submarine sentence. Subordinate. Subordinate sentence is also, it's a two-part idea, but the two parts are unequal. One part can stand alone and one part can't. There's a subject and verb on one side, and on the other side, there's some kind of subordinating phrase. It could be after, since, because, often, when, ... And then we put these two parts of the sentence together with a comma. Now, you'll recognize these when you see them. So, here's an example. When bees buzz, my kids run. So we have two parts of the idea, and you can see my kids run. That part could stand alone. It could be a sentence, my kids run. That could be a simple assertion. It stands alone. But the first part, when bees buzz, you feel like you're falling off a cliff. It can't stand alone. And we need that comma to tie those two parts of the idea together. So there we have it. We have the three sentence shapes in English. Birds fly, simple assertion. Birds fly and bees buzz, comma and. Birds fly, comma and bees buzz, a coordinate two-part equal sentence. Or when bees buzz, comma, my kids run, unequal two parts, a subordinate sentence. My assertion to you is that to be in MLA format, to get full credit for your MLA submitted, rewritten, polished, and perfected drafts, Every single sentence in your essay needs to be one of these three shapes. And you'll notice that the most number of parts a sentence can have in Captain Kirk's Cosmos is 2. So if you're looking and rereading your papers and you come across a really long sentence, guess what you get to do? You get to rewrite it into one of these three shapes. Sometimes that means breaking it apart. Sometimes that means clarifying it, reordering, making more sentences out of the one sentence, breaking them down, breaking them up. Very often, it requires coming up with more verbs to rewrite the sentence. So one of the corollaries, or one of the effects of these three-part sentences, is that if we only have 2 parts and we always have subjects and verbs, the verb becomes really, really important. And one of the verbs that we don't like so much is the verb is, and all of its other forms. Verb to be. Is, was, were, are, be, being, and to be. Is, was, were, be, being, to be. The is words are weak. They're weak. They're really useful. And when we're drafting, we use them all the time. And when we're speaking, we use all the time. But when we're writing, because we're taking time to revise, to reshape, to reposition, this rewriting, it gives us a chance to think about other verbs we can use that have more power and more guts. It's like the subjects are like the bones of a sentence, and the verbs are like the muscle. That's one way to think about it. Every single sentence needs some structure. It needs a clear sense of its nounness, its subjectness. And it also needs some energy, some goo, it needs some power that comes from that verbal muscle. So I can write a sentence with is. I've lost my. Here it is. I can write a sentence with is. Love. I can write a sentence. Love is important. It's true. There's nothing wrong with that idea. Love is important. It's really important. But I can also write, love changes everything. Everything. Love transforms a simple life into a symphony. And notice, when I know that I have to beef up my isness, when I'm suffering from is-itis, with is all over my paper, and I have the time and the energy and the focus to revisit this with a sense of shapely sentences. Wow, look what happened. Love is important. Yeah, love changes everything. Well, that means very much the same idea, but gosh, it's so much stronger. Love transforms a simple. Then I'm getting more and more elaborate, more poetic, more imagistic. That search for stronger verbs brings all kinds of energy and expression into the writing that actually can help clarify our thought. So here we have a whole lot of really important stuff in this rewriting week, that we can do it at different scales, that MLA graphics is how we dress our paper, so we're going to be working to become masterful with our understanding of how to dress our papers. And most importantly, these 3 essay shapes, these 3 sentence shapes, writing towards these clear understanding, clear expression of these sentence shapes solves numerous confusing grammatical errors in writing, and also brings us a more vivid, more muscular, more clear style that's so important for the kind of clear and expressive thinking that we demand of college level writers. Have a great time. start enjoying those sentences. And next week, so it's rewriting week. Look for the specifics of those assignments, and we will move into another essay shape next week.